Hello, hello, beautiful souls. This is Esther, also known as schmeksipants. Welcome to my channel. So I thought I would do a week ahead reading today, but before I start, I wanted to talk about this weekend. So a lot of people in the collective, a lot of my friends have been telling me that they've been really feeling this kind of like difficult energy, purging energy. And I'm I was not immune to that. It's why I took a couple days off of posting here on YouTube and on Instagram. So I've talked a lot about the Mercury retrograde, the Venus retrograde, full moons, but something that kind of came up this morning as I was having my coffee was that we're almost in a lunar new year. So you might want to look in to see what your lunar zodiac sign is. So it's animals. So if you think about astrology in the Western world, we're very familiar with our sun signs and with astrology that follows the sun. Um, but February 1st is actually the Lunar New Year, and that astrology follows the moon. So we're heading from the year of the ox into the year of the tiger. So you might want to check that out. And you also might want to see how that affects your sign. For example, I'm the year of the rat. And so there are certain attributes there. And I feel like, when we're closing out any old year, there's going to be themes that come up for healing, regardless of, whether we're looking at astrology or even just kind of what most of us in the Western world just see as like the calendar new year. Although I guess that's kind of like the Judeo-Christian calendar, things like what didn't we do in the past year that we wanted to? Where did we hide from ourselves? What do we want to create in the new year, and what energies support? So I think that that's something that will be really heavy in kind of moving through any residual heaviness. And also, again, like if you've been feeling light and great, it will just support and amplify, any success. I have a feeling that this is going to be a really passionate year of the tiger. Really kind of, I picture tigers very much as a fiery energy, and we've been seeing a lot of wands in these readings. So again, I have to look more into it. I am by no means an expert on astrology, lunar or solar, but I think that, even with all the animals that came up in some of the messages last week and the guidance to look into animal messages, I'm realizing now that yes, that's true for our own power animals or guides that might be speaking to us, but it's also, I think, getting in touch with where your lunar astrology is and what your sign is will be really advantageous to you in the next little while, maybe for some themes going on in your, and also, again, I'm not an expert on this, but it might be good to also look up what elements. So again, as an example, I'm the year of the rat, but I'm also a wood rat because it goes with the elements as well. So you could probably find that on a Google search or in a book, but let's get into the reading for what to expect for this week ahead, what themes are coming up to be healed, what we can look forward to, hopefully. Let's see what our angels and guides have to say. Okay. All right. So that's so interesting. I wanted some clarity on this Two of Cups reverse that I saw come out. And then we have the Five of Cups. So it's interesting because you see those two cups here, and yet this person is mourning this like spilt milk here. So I feel like this will be a week to really kind of first mourn, which I think is kind of the energy that a lot of us are getting out of thinking about things, that went wrong, really processing our feelings, really getting into our emotions, allowing ourselves to sit with those negative feelings, which can be really, really challenging, which is why I often say to do something that gets you into body while you're doing it so that, you don't drive yourself mad. But then it will be about turning around. Instead of focusing on all the things that went wrong, look at all the beauty that's still left. Two of Cups, open conversation. That's so funny. I'm seeing this like tiger cat, almost like figure with this guide that's looking above, and the snakes of the caduceus. Caduceus you often will see on like prescription things. It's a sign from Greek mythology. I think related to Hermes, the messenger god. If I'm correct, I might be wrong on that. But I think that when you can look at things for what they really are and see the connections in your life that are still there, see the joy, the beauty, the things that give you emotional fulfillment, that's when you can call in better. But if you're just focusing on all of the things that went wrong, you're never going to move forward. You're never going to kind of turn that around. And so this can be the relationship with others, with friends, with family, with, romantic partners. But I feel like it's really getting into that, well, what's left about yourself? What have you learned about yourself? That's going to be the theme for this week, is kind of moving forward from that dwelling energy, if you have been purging or just reaffirming beautiful things. So King of Swords, we've seen this king a few times lately. I think that the King of Swords oftentimes is maybe misunderstood. So yes, the King of Swords can be cold, but it's more that the King of Swords has been through a lot, you know? So it's a matter of not so much being cold, but remaining detached from outcome and speaking the truth, having that mental clarity for yourself. I see the butterflies today, I'm noticing above this king's head, and I feel like that's a symbol of transformation. So there's a saying that, if you're walking through hell, keep going, like keep walking through, or even if you're in a cocoon, like you have to be in that goo phase, before you can be a butterfly. So if you're in that goo phase, know that transformation is coming soon. It's just kind of about knowing and trusting that you will reach that transformation butterfly state, and not being so attached to how. Realizing that there's still beauty around, even through all the shit that you may have been through, and turning around and facing yourself directly on. And I think that, the purpose of these purges is not to kill us. It's to get us clear on what our own purpose and what our own desires are. And I mean, it can sound really frustrating when it's like, but, you might say to me, Esther, I know what my desires are. Yeah, but you have to work through what your inner child would want too. So it's kind of like, where are you hiding from yourself? Where are you not allowing from a mental standpoint? And it can be funny what things trigger this understanding for yourself, but that's why it's really important to kind of take that time to get quiet, to allow yourself to grieve if you need to, not for dwelling forever, but to allow yourself to process those emotions so that you can then move forward. So let's see what else this week, what else we need to know. If there's any additional energies beyond the crying over spilt milk, because again, like these things, they happen not to kill us but to propel us forwards. Life is happening for us, not to us. Even when sometimes it's like, I was talking to a friend the other day and they were very much like, why God, why? And I was like, agreed. But yeah, again, talking about that snake, talking about that transformation, this is what's coming this week. A change in perspective, a shedding of kind of old thoughts, beliefs, around, I've been hearing being seen, being vulnerable, around being the need to be cold. It's not serving anymore. So on the bottom, very much noticing two things, the 7 and then the Queen of Clubs. So let's address the 7 first. 7 in the tarot, more so than even just like regular numerology, I associate a lot with illusions and waiting. With the 7 of Cups, illusions, waiting, both, 7 of Pentacles, 7 of Swords is kind of looking back on the past, kind of like a deceit energy, which sometimes people see as the snake. And then I'm missing one. So it's 7 of Pentacles, 7 of Swords, 7 of Cups. Oh, 7 of Wands. Yeah, it's kind of like that fighting energy, like you've already there, but you've got the high ground where you're fighting. It's kind of this transitional phase. So if you're not fully there yet, it's okay. Things will happen, as soon as you process this. Being in it is no fun. But once you come out of it, this Queen of Clubs corresponds with Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is a very powerful figure. For those who look at the tarot as a gendered perspective, the Queen of Clubs is considered the most beautiful of the queens. She's very powerful. For me, I like to look at it just as the energies. So fiery, passionate, stable, steady in self, understanding wants and needs. And I feel like that's what's really going to come out. And that's also what's going to kind of change this situation around, because you'll have that cool detachment, but then you'll also have that passion of knowing who you are and being steady and unshakable and being able to move forward swiftly. And oh, so funny. 6 of Wands on the bottom. And you'll have that victory, that whatever you've been working towards will happen. I just want to see one last thing, what's on the bottom here. Yeah. Because it's almost like there's a back and forth energy where it's like, I'm healed, I'm not healed. I'm healed, I'm not healed. I want to be in this. I don't want to be in this. You're going to get steady. You're going to focus on getting steady. And there won't be that energy anymore. It will move from this kind of like cunning slyness to, you know, instead of being like that trickster fox, it'll be that stealthy fox that looks to the future and moves forward. Yeah. And there will be this kind of heart-centered decisions moving forward. Both, I'm seeing a lot of things here. There's going to be, again, I spoke last week about working on your heart chakra. I think there's going to be this opening of a heart chakra, maybe connections with others, maybe just deeper love for self, which then leads to it. 2 + 4 is 6, again, corresponds with the lovers. Decide, you know, where your heart lies. And I don't mean just within romance. I mean with what do you want to create for your life? Getting really clear on that, working on that. Because then again, you'll have these Jack of Hearts is basically like the Knight of Cups moment where you'll be able to kind of receive those offers. Because sometimes energetically we're being offered love, but when we're closed off to it, when we're not focused on it, how can we receive? So we're going to get back into that receptive mode. It's just going to be a little bit more inner work this week. I think by the end of the week, things will be much more positive. I'm actually, by the end of this week, the collective listening to this reading, where will the energy be? If we can work on those shifts, if we can work on ourselves, if we can process our feelings and focus on the beauty that still remains in this life, especially in connections with ourselves and with others, where will the energy take us? Well, the universe in some ways kind of flipped me off in that it will be like, well, only the stars will tell. But again, I'm noticing this 6 of Hearts, 6 of Cup energy. I think that there will be more kindness, more understanding, a return to innocence, a return to, you know, that light-hearted, playful, loving energy. If you feel called, look up the 6 of Cups in Tarot. Really beautiful images of 2 figures in touch with their inner child, or they are children depending on the depiction. Full cups being offered to each other, open communication. I think that that's where we'll be able to be by the end of the week. So that's your weekly energy reading. A reminder, look up your lunar zodiac if you feel called, and I'm wishing you a beautiful day.